so I have a pretty loud voice, so I don't think I'll be needing the speaker. We have a whole bunch of people in the back. We have about 15 seats up in the front, so I want to welcome you to come all the way up. There's 10 seats open in the first front row here, so please come on up. Don't be shy,
Just
because other people will be coming in. So yeah, come forward in the back. Come on up. Come on up, please. It's going to be much more comfortable. Come on up, don't be shy. There's a whole row empty right up here. Okay? Please, come on up. Those in the back.
Take a seat.
There's 4 seats right next to this charming young man in the blue. Okay, there's going to be more people coming up, so all you folks, come on. Please, I want to invite you to come up to the front. Okay, so let's get started. I want to tell a story about Phi Lee Wong. This is Phi Lee Wong right here. And this is his family picture. In 1876, he came to America. And this is in Deadwood, South Dakota. And there was a family reunion in 2004, and you can see all of his family here are gathered in front of his store. You see, when Phi Lee Wong came to America, he could have chosen to be a gold mine worker, to do the hard labor of breaking rocks to find gold and using his brute force energy and physicality. But instead, what he decided to do was he was going to be a merchant. He wanted to be a businessman. So I want to ask you the question. When you think about your career, are you focused on being the technical expert? Or are you thinking about how your skill sets, whether it's technical, marketing, sales, is impacting the business? You see, we have a choice. As Chinese, we grow up with this work hard, get straight A's mentality, don't we? Okay. When I was growing up, if I got a B, my parents would say, why wasn't that an A? And I get a B plus, and my parents say, well, why wasn't that an A? I get an A minus, and my parents say, why wasn't that an A? This whole idea of constant improvement, humble yourself, because there's always more to learn. I remember growing up down in Southern California, we lived in Palos Verdes, which was just a very high academic school district. And one of my family friends, his uncle, I called him Uncle YC. Uncle YC had 2 daughters. And both daughters got to MIT, top school. They were so proud. They put a vanity plate on their car that said 2 at MIT. My sister went to UCLA, my brother went to UCLA, I went to UCLA, but that's so low, so far from when you would consider Ivy League, MIT, Stanford, Caltech at the top. Isn't that how we were born and raised, for those of us who are Asians in the room, to excel academically? Yes? How many of you can relate to that? Really? Only 50%? I don't believe you. Okay? Because even as an American-born Chinese, I know what the culture is. Okay? So I want to ask you, you're in Silicon Valley, you're in America, you are in California, you are in the wild, wild west of technology innovation. How many of you choose to be a worker? Are you just doing what you're being told what to do? Are you relying on your smarts and your programming skills and your technical skills and being the best architect? By the way, there's nothing wrong with being an architect. Or are you thinking about how what you do has business impact. Now, if you're not interested in this topic, please feel free to. You see, Li Wang made this decision. He bucked the trend. This Li Wang is actually the great-grandfather of Ulysses Wang. Does anyone in the room here know Ulysses Wang? He's a semiconductor executive. He rose the ranks, and when I met him over 10 years ago, I was impressed because I was looking for a Chinese sales executive in Silicon Valley, and I looked through thousands of contacts in my LinkedIn profile, and Ulysses was the only Chinese VP of sales that I could find. And so we got together, we got to know each other, and he told me this story of his grandfather. Fast forward today, he's a CEO. How many of you aspire to do more than what you're doing now? Can I see a show of hands? Okay, so I sense that there's a dissatisfaction in the room, that you don't want to settle. Okay. 25%. Ascend did a research report in 2011. And in Silicon Valley, 25% of the workforce, the workforce across the board, the technical workforce, was East Asian. Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese. But yet, a paltry 5% are in the VP and executive ranks. Is that consistent with your experience? When you look around your company, who you see are the leaders, the VPs, the executives in the company? How many Chinese do you see? Did you ever ask that question? Why? Well, let's explore why. Let's look at the Chinese culture. So, we're just going to do some buzzword bingo, and I'm going to say Chinese culture. What are the attributes of being Chinese in Silicon Valley? The mentality of Chinese that you grew up with.
Quiet.
Quiet. Thank you.
Humble.
Thank you for not being quiet.
Humble.
Humble.
Diligent.
Diligent.
Hard work.
Hardworking.
Problem solver.
Problem solver.
Technical.
Thank you. Technical. Anything else?
Family oriented.
Family.
Obedience.
Obedient. That's great.
Savings.
Saving? Oh, that's a really good one. Because savings implies no risk, right? Please come in. There's 4 seats, 5 seats in the row. These in the back are too shy to come up to the front, or too stubborn. Oh, I forgot to put stubborn here. Okay, please come up. There's 2 seats right here. Okay. See, look, they're being shy. They're shy. Exclamation point. Shy. Okay. Do we have 3 people who are not shy and are willing to come up to the front and be comfortable? Okay. Thank you. Right. You see how young these young guys, right? They're the future. Now, when we look at Silicon Valley culture, okay, think about those people who are excelling. What attributes do you see?
Bold.
Bold.
Aggressive.
Aggressive.
Talkative.
Huh?
Talkative.
Positive?
Talkative.
Talkative, like me?
Yeah.
Creative.
Talkative. Creative.
Confident.
Confidence.
Leadership.
Risk taker.
Rumors.
Hold on. Leader.
Innovation.
Huh?
Innovate.
Innovate.
Ambition.
Ambitious.
Kiss up.
Huh? Kiss up? Hey, that's legit. Oh, the list goes on. Do we see the issue here?
Yes.
So I want each of you, bring out, look, we're in 2018. Bring out your cell phone. Make yourself a note. Okay? Because I guarantee you, if you have a mental note, you're going to walk out there, you do the rest of the job fair, you're going to talk to 100 people. Hopefully you talk to 100 people. You meet people. You're going to forget. So those of you who are committed to make a difference in your career, I want to challenge you to take action. Because I've been doing this professionally, and I've been doing this as pro bono for over 15 years. When I was a VP of Salesforce.com, at VP of Marketing, I was invited to, and I got my first invitation to come and start meeting with mid-professional Chinese, right? And to say, well, what are the things? So I've been thinking about this long, and I've met with hundreds, if not thousands, of Chinese professionals, and I will say, 99% of you love to sit here and just be intellectually challenged because it stimulates, okay, the technical in you. But I want to ask, how many of you are willing to take action to get from the left side to get to the right side? So I want you, I appreciate that you took a picture. I want you to go home and I want you to say, what are the areas, and you don't have to be Chinese, what are the areas here that you think are getting in the way, are these natural behaviors that you have, innate within you, that's preventing you from coming along this other side here, where we have 60 people in the room who are saying that these are the attributes about people who get ahead and get promoted. Take an action. Identify 1, 2, or 3 areas and say, what are you going to do about it? Okay, workshop is over. I think that's enough. Isn't that powerful enough? I hope. Well, there's a little bit more. Okay, so let's explore this a little bit. If you were to put yourself on the spectrum of -10 to +10, and the definition here, we have 2 seats up in front. Please come up. I appreciate it. What's your name?
Ling.
Ling. I appreciate Ling. Because she's not shy. She's saying, I'm going to come up and be assertive, and I'm going to take a seat. See, we were just talking about how to be assertive, right?
Thank you.
So I'm drawing this out, not to embarrass her, but I'm drawing her out to illustrate how this shows up. When you are in a meeting, are you sitting in the back of the room? Are you waiting for the seats to be filled up by the directors and the VPs in the room? Or are you grabbing your rightful seat and saying, I'm here to contribute? Okay, so on the left, I want you to evaluate on the left. Come on in. Got room, more standing room in the back. On the left is technical SME. You're focused on yourself, what your job task is, what your manager asks you to do. You're focused on, hey, I've been presented a problem. Now I'm going to solve that, right? We said here, problem solver, right? That's what I get paid for, okay? And I do what I'm told. Okay, so that's -10. Okay? Versus on the other extreme of +10 is business focused. You're thinking about, I'm writing this piece of code. I'm developing this new chip architecture. And I'm thinking about, how is that going to make Xilinx a market leader and get Xilinx out of its niche? I'm thinking about Moshe Garilov, right, who has been the CEO, tenured CEO, has just been replaced, and the new CEO is going to be doing something different. So how can I, sitting in my cubicle, working on technical code, how is that going to help the company? See, that's what business focus is. Help others. right? If I just want to be quiet and sit in my cube and focus on what I have to contribute, or am I looking around to see how I can help people around me? When I was young in my career, within the first 5 years of my career, I was working in a very, very small team of 4 people. And there was one lady, her name is Kathy. She was in the company for 3 years. Just so happens that she is Chinese. When Kwang, my colleague, and I just joined, we were trying to learn from her. She would not share. Any of you ever do lower layer X25 decoding? So I'd get the X25 trace from the customer and there's a disconnect and I'm trying to code. I didn't know, there's no YouTube to teach me how to decode an X25 trace file for WAN communication. So I say, Kathy, help me. She takes it, she said, oh, let me look. Here's the answer, go tell the customer. I go, Kathy, can you show me how you did? Oh, it's so easy. You can do it. You know, she was so worried about protecting her own knowledge and that her worth in the company was what she knew. That she wasn't looking to help others. Okay? Are you solution oriented? It's one thing to say, well, what's the problem? Okay? My foot hurts. Okay? Put a bandage around it. Stick it in a bucket of ice. That's reactive. How do I not twist my ankle again? Maybe I should warm up. Maybe I should stretch. Maybe I should go work out. See, that's the solution, not dealing with the reactive symptom. Are you asking for opportunities? How many of you have regular one-on-ones, weekly or bi-weekly one-on-ones with your boss? That's a shame. 40% of you. So, the 60% of you, you're not having one-on-ones. Are you going to your boss and say, hey boss, I know you're really busy, but can we have 15 minutes to sync up? I'd like to understand what challenge, what you're focused on that I can help. Taking initiative and then engaging with your boss to say, ask for opportunities. Do you do that? Or is your one-on-one more like sit there and my boss tells me what I'm doing right and tell me what I'm doing wrong? You say thank you very much, and then I go back and do what I'm doing. You see, one-on-ones are a two-way exchange. I mean, this is a target-rich topic about how do you get assertive with your boss versus sit there and wait for him or her to tell you what to do, okay? But then you have to have the courage. You got to take some risk to say, hey, boss, what else is happening over here that's I can jump in because I want to learn. I want to have more expansion opportunities. Are you sharing with your boss about what your career ambitions are, or at least at the time of what you're doing in your company, what more you want to accomplish? Because you know what? I don't know your boss, but I pretty much guarantee that he's not Vulcan. And what I mean by that, for you people who know Star Trek, is that he's not going to do the Vulcan mind meld on you and extract from your cranium what you're thinking. So you have to take initiative. And I believe you. How many managers in the room? Oh, just a handful. Okay. But I guarantee if I can represent the managers in the room, we much appreciate you coming with your ideas about, instead of just me telling you what all my ideas are. We look for people to take initiative. To tell you, there's a $100 million mid-stage startup company. I've met with the chief product officer. He wants me to run his offsite, his leadership offsite. So he's going to bring the top 15 managers of his 200-person technical product team together. And the first thing he says to me is, we're not innovative enough. That I need to look within my teams to see who has great ideas where they can step up, get out of the day-to-day and get up and be willing to take risks about ideas and how we can build a product that's not just an incremental feature improvement, but it's going to be something that could be disruptive in the market. Okay? So, on the spectrum of -10, +10, where are you? Because if you're anything left of +8, okay, I think it's a wake-up call. And I would invite you to talk to friends and colleagues and other friends that are managers and say, hey, what are the things that we can do to move more towards the right? Okay? Any questions or comments first before we keep going? Is this an interesting topic?
Yes.
A very interesting. Yes. Yeah.
So if a person is kind of toward the -10,
Yeah.
how can they transform from a doer to a leader? Is there like a method of push yourself? Like, is there a way to transform from the -10 to?
Okay. So if you're what she's asked. First of all, I want to give her credit for actually raising her hand in a room of 60 people and to ask a question. So she's saying, if you're here on the far left, -10, what are some of the things that you can do? What's the method, she's saying, that can help you get here? The first thing I would say is, I would look at this and I'm saying, yes, I am too insular. Then I would come to this list. And I would say, what are the things that are preventing me, that are dragging me and pulling me over to the -10? Okay, so let's just give an example. What's one example? What comes to mind about the thing that's an impediment for you?
Being shy.
Being shy. Okay, what ideas do you have about overcoming being shy? In the room. Yes.
Try to present, and then you may be terrible the first time, but you keep doing
Find ways to present. There are, look, Chinese, we're frugal. We love free. Go to Toastmasters. Right? Are you willing to invest? I don't know, I've never been to Toastmasters. Okay? However, well, I grew up in marketing, and look, I'm a flaming extrovert in case anyone had any questions about that. So it's very easy for me to be out in front of crowds. But I also work and coach with plenty of people who are introverted. Okay? But you gotta get uncomfortable to get comfortable. So I would say, without knowing you, I'd say, how seriously do you really want to move? Because when you go home and you're sitting at home and you're saying, I'm in the privacy of my own home where I'm quiet and I get my energy. Introverts, we get our energy from being alone. Okay? Am I going to be able to push myself out of the house and say, I'm going to go and meet with a bunch of strangers and I'm going to stand up and make a fool of myself? Are you willing to do that? So, yes, you have to change your mindset. And the question I would ask is, how seriously do you want to do that? Because if it's just an intellectual exercise, you won't get off of it. Does that help?
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So what about like if already like you work for a company for like a long time?
Yes.
They already form a mold.
Yes.
Impressions that this person is very technical.
Yes.
Better stay in the technical field.
Yes.
If you want to like bring up some ideas and ask for more opportunity.
Yeah.
No, that's it's not me or somebody.
Yeah.
Technical.
Do you work at Intel?
Silence.
Okay. See, I've met half a dozen people in the technical track, and their manager said, no, you don't want to be a manager. You're such a great technical talent. You stay here.
Exactly. So they want.
Get the hell out. You see, because you got to take a risk. Because if you have a career ambitions and you want to do more, and your management has made up their mind that you're a technical guru and you should only be here, get out. Make a change. Now, I'm not saying get reckless. Start interviewing. What do I mean that? Go out and start meeting other groups who may say, look, we know you have a strong technical reputation and we want to leverage that. And you say, and I want to do more of the business side. Product management, technical marketing, and you have and then you say, find a manager who's going to take a risk on you.
point.
But same with this Rosa here, is like, you go home, you say, hey, look, I get a really good paycheck, they pay me well, stable, I've been here 15 years, I've been here 20 years. Do I really want to disrupt things? There's a cost to pursuing your ambition. So I would ask you, when you fast forward, well, so if you're an older guy like me, you fast forward to your retirement date, and if you didn't achieve what you had hoped for, do you have any regrets? Maybe that's something we need to talk about. Because maybe it's the regrets that's going to drive you to get out of that old pattern. Okay? Yes, one more question and we'll move on.
Actually, no question, just two comments.
Comment.
One of them is that you can go to Meetup, and many times they have something called lightning talk. So you have 2 minutes to talk about what you want to talk about, and then people can talk to you.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think instead of interviewing other company, you can have a luncheon with other department manager, and if they like you, they will pull you.
Yeah.
And then at that time, it's not whether your manager want to keep you or not. It's the other guy who's going to pull you, and then you go.
Thank you.
So that way, you don't have to.
Thank you for sharing.
Risking.
Okay, so let me just give you an example. I was 20 years old. I went to UCLA. Any of you like NCAA basketball? Right? So we're out there, and we're playing USC. USC. All right, so we're out there, and we are at the sports arena in downtown Los Angeles, in the barrios and the slums of Los Angeles. That's where USC lives. Okay, and we're down in the game, and our band isn't doing jack. So I run to the front of the student section, and I lead, and I say, and I'm leading the Bruin cheer. Okay, so participate me. I say, give me a B.
B.
Oh, that's wimpy. Give me a B.
B.
Give me a U.
U.
Give me a I. So some people are laughing, and I said, people aren't following me. And then I realized I forgot the R in Bruins. So that was one of my life embarrassing moments. That's in front of, that puts Toastmasters to shame. I'm in front of thousands of people, and some of these guys were my high school classmates that I saw in there, and I'm like, I just made a complete idiot of myself. But here's the point is, don't take yourself so seriously. Any manager, any VP would give you more brownie points for going out there and taking risk than he would if you just tripped up on yourself a little bit. Right? But again, we look at whether you're Chinese or not Chinese, but you look at the hang-ups. We are perfectionists. It's that A+ mentality. It was like, I can't show up and open my mouth and say something, talk about something I don't know. I talk about stuff I don't know all the time. You got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. I mean, that's so cliche, right? Get out of your comfort zone to take risks, to see how can I really grow and explore and expand. Okay, I'm going to get the hook here. So now I'm going to play a little game with you, okay? I recognize a couple faces. I've seen you at the C6 networking groups. By the way, a plug, for those of you who are in job search, active job search, meaning you're not employed right now, you're in an active job search, go to C6 in Saratoga every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Get out of your house where you're alone and behind your computer screen, scouring LinkedIn, trying to look for jobs. That's depressing. Go to C6. It's free. Well, they charge $5, $10, $5, just for the meal. So you're just covering the meal. You got to eat anyway. Okay. Well, maybe you go home and you have white rice, and that's cheaper than $5. But go out there and spend the $5 and be with people, and be with other people, and be in a supportive environment. Because when I was in job search, look, I've been unemployed for 6 months at a time. It's scary, it's frightening, it's horrible. Don't be alone. So go to C6. C-S-I-X. Okay? So those of you who have been in C6 and have seen this before, I ask you not to participate in this. So I'm just going to give you some words and things that show up, and I'm going to ask you to guess what this product is. Okay? C-S-I-X. And they meet in Saratoga, a church in Saratoga, every Thursday. Okay? Now, don't be shy. I want the extroverts to calm down and let let the introverts participate. Okay, ready? So you're going to try to guess what this is. Huh?
System memory.
No. What's the product? Hardware. Well, that's very
Hard
general.
drive.
Hard drive. No, not a hard drive. Computer. No.
Phone.
Phone? Did you say iPhone?
Yeah,
iPhone? No.
iPod.
iPod.
Ah, wow. He just beat you. Okay. I've done this 50 times, and probably a handful of times somebody got, wow, you're smart. You A+ student? Did you go to Harvard?
I'm in the A company.
Yeah. You see, here's the thing. Look, when you show up to your interviews, okay, are you putting out like feature sets? Right? And start putting out all your technical knowledge and accomplishments and projects and tasks and things like that? Right? Or are you actually talking about the value that you bring? So if I said 1,000 songs in your pocket, then people get it, right? 1,000 songs in your pocket. 5 words that this whole feature list doesn't do. Okay, so how do you show? I'm a hard worker. I know XYZ standard. I work with, I work with Amazon, XYZ. I know you get down to all the layers and technical specifications. That's a checklist. That doesn't speak to a manager about what so doing the job description is not what a manager is actually looking for. Because you wouldn't even have the phone call, let alone an interview, if you didn't satisfy the technical checklist. Does that make sense? Okay? So I want you to think about beyond being a hard worker, what your technical skill sets are, what your functional skill sets are, and talk about how it impacted business. Okay? Before I got there, we were stuck on this platform and we couldn't release product, or the released product was just at best on par with the competition. But because of the new architecture I developed, we actually leapfrogged the competition, and we actually get Qualcomm to adopt us. Right? So now we're focusing on impact as opposed to job description. Okay, so we ran out of time. We don't have time for a hero. But here's the point. Beware of the standard elevator pitch. Now what I can't stand, and what I'm going to do is go out there and I'm going to say, all these people you hear talk about, you need to have an elevator pitch. Okay? Get rid of that idea. Okay? You got to have a soundbite connecting what your skill set is and how that impacts business. Okay? That's non-standard. Okay? So, but it requires a lot of thinking. So go home, and that's your homework. So, an example, last but not least. Yes, he's waving the hook at me, and he's looking at his clock. We're going to be 3 minutes. Okay?
1 minute, okay.
On the left is qualified. This is what got you the phone call. But when you're in the interview, your description has to be different. Okay? You can take a picture. Okay? It's easier. Okay? Somebody on the left, read this. Loud.
I have 15 years of experience
As a street, right? That's a qualification. On my left here, on the right, somebody, one person, bold.
In addition to creating
Louder.
I have turned around failed relationships and made them produce revenue.
Right? She's talking about the problems that exist and how she addressed those problems that impacted business. Yes? Okay. One person here, nice and loud. Your Toastmaster moment.
I had managed a 20-person team.
Right? So replace that. You can talk about all the technical details of what you're doing. Right? 2, someone here? Someone?
I took a team that was 15 out of 20 teams in customer satisfaction and led them into top 3 in 12 months.
Right. So this is, I just happened to be the lucky guy that was sitting in the seat who had the big title. Right? This one is, right? I had a team that was underperforming and I made them top performing. You see, there's a lot more color to the sketch about what kind of manager you are. It's like, I'm a manager, right? This is like, I'm a leader. Someone here.
I can work with many different kinds of people.
I'm flexible. I get along with people. Well, if you don't get along with people, I'm certainly not going to invite you to my company. So that's a table stake. That's a given. Okay? Now, somebody here.
Over 3 years, I was in India and China shoot teams from 0 to 50 people.
So you illustrate what it looks like, how you work with people. Okay, last, because he's literally going to pull me off the door here, right? Okay.
I'm well organized and very driven.
I'm very well organized and very driven. I mean, of course, that's the part of the checklist. Everyone else, I would hope everyone would say they would do that. And the last one here, somebody. One? After you take the picture? One person, please.
I've taken over projects that were in trouble and got them back on track by gaining stakeholder buy-in and create an environment of accountability.
Yes. Okay. So it was a lot of fun for me. I wish we had hours to spend. And so what I want to encourage you is, how many went to the Beijing Olympics? Okay? So you go to the bird's nest, you can sit there, wow, beautiful. I was so impressed by what our Chinese people did, right? And just gave, but you see, when you sit here and do this, right? This is like inspirational, perhaps. I see smiling faces, people taking notes and pictures and stuff. But you know, it's passive, right? I want to invite you, if you're interested in being active, email me, because I create groups of 6, 7, 8 people, and we meet monthly. And we work on all these things. How do we become leaders? How do I get promoted? How do I work through nasty politics that happen in my company? So it's a lot of fun for me. Thank you. I'm over, and good luck in your job search.
Oh yeah. So you can ask one question.
Oh, we have time for a question.
Just one question.
Okay, one question.
Who wants to ask?
Okay. Yes.
Do you think an MBA program will be able to help to develop such skill sets?
What I worry about MBA is, again, if the mindset is I got to go and collect more degrees, because the more degrees I have gives me my self-confidence, I really question that. There have been no shortage of very successful executives and CEOs, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, who didn't go get degrees, let alone business degrees, advanced degrees, to be able to go. So it's not a requirement in Silicon Valley. However, if you're making a major shift, you say, hey, I have no idea how to become a technical architect and go into product management, there are other ways that you can do that. There's product school. I have clients who've gone to product school, and it gives you a framework of thinking about things, career and the job differently. But it's about doing. To me, it's more about doing. I don't think that the MBA in of itself is going to be the answer. Okay? But that's because I'm insecure, because I only have a bachelor's degree and I don't have an MBA. So you'd expect me to say that. But look, I've gone through the ranks and I broke through the ranks, and never once has anyone asked me, how come you don't have an MBA? Right? It's how you show your initiative, your ability to learn, your ability to drive business in the job as opposed to a piece of paper. Okay? Now, for those of you, look, you're in big companies, Xilinx, whatnot, get them to pay for you to go do some programs. So when I was at Oracle, I went to University of Chicago, $10,000 back then, probably $20,000 now, went to a week-long course in competitive strategy. Then I was at another company and they paid me to go to Stanford's program for one week, right? And that's one way that you can use the company's money to fund your development. And these programs that I've talked about, the companies are funding for them to come and learn and join these type of professional development groups. Okay?
Thank you.
I'll be around if anyone else has any questions.
Thank you. Thanks, Ron, for the wonderful talk. And now we have